Where's Leo? Oh,
oh yeah, he would have been hilarious.
Alright, now we're on the safari, but I kept calling it Welcome to Jumanji. Hold on, everybody!
Everyone, my name is Jessie. I'm your safari guide today as we journey through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Just a couple of reminders before we head on out. Make sure to remain fully seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside my truck at all times, and no musical chairs. If you look above your head, you'll see that safari spotting guide. It'll help you point out some of the animals we should see today. I can't promise we'll see all of them, but I can promise we will see at least one. If you're taking any photos, make sure your devices are on live mode. It's going to be the best way to get good photos of those animals. We won't be able to stop for all of them. We're not going to stop and pose.
We're gonna go find Simba.
Our first stop into the reserve is going to be the Little Aturi Forest. Aturi in Swahili actually just means little, so it's really the little forest.
Yep.
Most of the animals that call the Aturi Forest home are going to use their natural spotting and surroundings as kind of like a camouflage. They do sometimes like to hide, so we're going to make sure we're keeping our eyes peeled just in case they're being shy today.
I want to sleep on this.
Look on the left.
On the right side, right in between the bamboo, there is an okapi over there. Okapi are often thought to be relatives of zebras because of their black and white zebra stripe party pants. They're actually not. They're the only known relative of giraffes. We know that because they have the exact same skeletal shape as a giraffe, just a little bit smaller, shrunken down, minus that super long neck. And then the brown antelopes on the left side are bongos, often referred to as the ghost of the forest. They're super shy and reclusive. They usually spend most of their days hiding. Both the males and the females have those backwards horns. It helps them get through brush and debris easier. That way they're not getting tangled up out here in the forest. They also have the white stripes on their backs. They just mimic the rays of the sun, just as another form of camouflage from any of their predators. Now on the left side, Snooze and his Dayway is a sleepy black rhino. The way they tell black and white rhino apart is not based on what color they are, since they're both just shades of gray. It's based on their lip shape and size. So black rhinos have a pointed prehensile upper lip. They also weigh quite a bit less than white rhinos, only about 3,000 pounds. Unfortunately, they are very endangered. They're being hunted for their horns, which are made out of keratin. Keratin is the same substance that's in our fingernails and our hair, and it's been proven to have no medicinal qualities whatsoever. There's no need for us to continue hunting them. The good news is, though, that thanks to conservation efforts, their populations are finally on the rise. A couple of years ago, they were down to 5,000 in total and are now reaching numbers of 10,000 and growing. This goes to show that conservation really does work. And on the left side, the big black and white bird is a saddle-billed stork. They get their name from the yellow saddle-shaped shield on their bill, and they usually stand around 5 feet tall. So the males and females apart based on their eye color. So females have yellow eyes and males have brown eyes.
I don't have long arms.
Now we have the Aturi Forest and into the Safi River Valley, which is home to animals who are going to spend most, if not all of their days, in or around the water. They do sometimes like to hide. It's the same deal. We want to make sure we're keeping our eyes peeled, just in case they're being shy as well. First, on the right side, those big white and gray birds are pink-backed pelicans. Get their pink color during mating season. Sorry, guys.
Oh, look at the hippo.
Oh, he came out just for us.
That's great.
Oh my god.
Their wingspan is about 7 to 9 feet, which is about the size of the canopy above our heads. They can fly for 24 hours straight at a time over about 300 miles.
Look at that one. Dad, I got it.
He's going right under me.
We've also got a couple of Nile hippopotamus in the area, so they do usually spend most of their day underwater, since they can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes, meaning they only come up for air every 8 minminutes. The main reason they come up fully onto land is just to graze for food, since they're herbivores. They're only going to eat about 90 pounds of food per day. I know that does sound like quite a lot of food to us, but for animals of their size, it's actually a pretty small amount. Later on, they can weigh up to 5,500 pounds, and their babies are born weighing about 85 pounds. They're often referred to as a water horse, but they're not related to horses at all. Actually, more closely related to whales. And a group of them would be called a bloat.
Oh, he's waving. Do you see him waving up there?
Oh, look at that guy.
crocodiles on our left side. Fully grown, they can be about 16 feet in length. If we stood them up on their nose, that would be almost
What is that?
as tall
Something
as
new?
a
You can
giraffe.
walk the...
Yeah, you can
One
do
meal
that,
per week,
yeah.
And in that one meal, they're going to eat about half their body weight. Make sure we're all fully seated, please. Everyone
We can look into
sit
it and
down.
see what it is.
Please sit down. Everyone
See the
sit down.
crocodile?
They're
Alligator?
only going to eat one meal per week, and in that one meal, they're going to eat about half their body weight. Fully grown, they can weigh about 500 pounds, about 250 pounds of food in one sitting. They're not picky and will eat pretty much anything. Other than being super territorial, though, they're also very comfortable. Parents are going to roll their babies' eggs around in their mouths, just going to help them hatch a little bit easier. And a group of them would usually be called a basque. Now going to head deeper into the reserve and into the savanna, which is the biggest part of the reserve, and my personal favorite because it's got my favorite animals in it.
You ready to find Simba, Katori?
Tree over on our right side, though. This is a baobab.
You want to
tree.
see Simba,
It's often
Leo?
also referred to as the tree of life or the upside down tree because those branches kind of look like the roots of a tree. The tree of life
Roots
means
upside
it has
down.
lots of water in its branches and its trunk, so a lot of animals like to use it as a source of drinking water. For example, elephants are going to stick their tusks into the base of the tree, make holes, and then drink the water that way. So it's kind of like a slide. As we make our way through the savanna, we're going to go by whichever animal is the closest to us. We'll probably see some animals a little bit further off in the distance. We're not going to talk about them until we get closer to them. That way we can see them properly. Alright, so first on the right, the small brown antelopes are springbok. They get their name because they can spring 6 feet straight up in the air when frightened, or 13 feet when moving through the air. So technically, that means they could jump up and over our heads and through the truck if they wanted to.
Ooh, look at
They
him.
have a special word for that jumping. It's called pronking.
Babe, did you see the little
Fastest
zebra?
animals in the world can run at speeds of 50 to 60 miles per hour and maintain that speed for quite long distances. Once we get around there, we're going to have another really awesome view of those zebras. So I'm going to wait to talk about them until we get to them. Most of the animals that do call the savanna home are natural grazers, so those that are lower to the ground.
That little one keeps running, man. Look at him, babe. Look.
And animals that are a little bit
He's
taller,
running.
they keep the trees trimmed, keep those branches and leaves from hanging down too low. That way it's not blocking their path. So they're kind of like built-in lawnmowers or tree trimmers of the savanna, just going to keep their homes nice, tidy, and pretty. On the left side, the three brown antelopes are sable antelope. They're the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, and we chose them as our emblem because they've got a really strong fighting spirit, and we're fighting for the animals. They're the only antelope that's going to prefer to fight off their predators
that
rather
baby
than
running.
just run away because they're super
what I said.
territorial. They really don't like anyone
Yeah.
in their area.
It's just going in
So everyone
circles.
look to their right. There's a little baby
Wait.
zebra who's got major zoomies right now, and it's just so cute. This is only her third day out here on the reserve, so
Really?
Oh, that's why. She's
really
getting used to it.
having an awesome time. Oh, she's so cute.
Look, she's kicking back.
She is just running all over the place. Now, I'm not going to stop by her just because she's not used to the trucks yet, and we're not supposed to, so we shouldn't be stopping. Yes, there's also a bunch of the Maasai giraffe in the areas. They are the tallest land mammals in the world, standing 16 to 20 feet tall. They do pretty much everything standing up. That's eating, drinking, sleeping, giving birth, all of the above. Only going to spend about 30 minutes per day sleeping, and they're going to do that with their eyes open, standing up, just so they can keep an eye out for their predators. The thing is, they only spend about 30 minutes per day sleeping. What do they do with the rest of their day? They spend about 20 hours of their days grazing on food. So because of that, it's theorized that their purple tongues are to help protect them from getting any sunburns on them. And a group of them would usually be called a tower. Oh my goodness, she is so cute. So Hartman's mountain zebra, a lot of people often wonder, are they black with white stripes or white with black stripes? I can tell you it's based on their nose color. So Hartman's mountain zebras, like those guys, they've got black noses, which means that they are black with white stripes. Each of their striking patterns are unique to them, that no two have the same. It's kind of like their version of a fingerprint, but it's also how they tell each other apart. And they don't neigh or whinny like other horses do. They instead make a low chuffing or snorting noise to communicate. And a group of them would usually be called a zeal or a dazzle. She is quite dazzling, so now we get to see her. I haven't seen her run yet, so that was pretty awesome. She was species giraffe on our left side in a second, but also in the bushes on the left side, all of these great animals. So these are wildebeest, and a herd of wildebeest would usually be called an implausibility. I like to think they're called an implausibility because when one runs, the others will follow, even if they're not too sure why they're running. So it's probably a good thing their babies can run just minutes after birth, since they are stampeding animals. They're very social friendly animals, so they do usually like to hang out in larger groups. And a much better view of all of these giraffes. They're just all over the place right now. There are many different species and subspecies of giraffe, the main two being Maasai and reticulated. The way we tell them apart is just based on their spots. So Maasai have a little bit of a rougher, uneven, jagged edge to those spots, as reticulated are a little bit more rounded, even, and straight to those edges, so a little bit closer together. Right, we're going to continue deeper into the savanna, and I'm seeing a lot of down trees. It does look like we'll be continuing into elephant country.
Growing sweet corn.
First, on the left side, before he disappears, there is a mandrill over there. They always disappear. They're very shy. So they are very shy. They do usually like to hang out in larger groups, and they are the biggest monkeys in the world. They can weigh up to 100 pounds. My favorite thing about them, though, is they have little pouches on both sides of their cheeks, where they like to store their snacks for later, kind of like their own built-in pantry on their base.
Ooh.
You can just barely see that elephant's tail wagging back there, but I'm going to try and get us another view of them. So fortunately, elephants are super endangered. They're being hunted for their tusks, which are made out of ivory. Ivory is pretty useless to us. We don't really use it for anything. And unfortunately, the US is one of the top importers of it. Just double check everything that you purchase, whether that be everyday souvenir or personal. Just make sure that it doesn't have any ivory in it. That's going to be a good way to help those elephants out and discourage that ivory hunting trade. Their habitat's also being mined and destroyed for material called coltan. Coltan is used in a lot of devices like laptops, cell phones, really anything that's chargeable. But the awesome thing about coltan is it's reusable and recyclable. There's absolutely no need for us to continue mining it, because we can just recycle all of our old used devices. Whenever you get home, take a lap around the place, make sure you've collected all those old devices. You take them to any technology store and they should be able to get rid of them and recycle them for you. It's going to be another good way of helping those elephants out. We should be continuing into elephant country, because on both sides of those big red walls are red clay pits. But elephants like to eat the clay. It's kind of like a natural vitamin for them, kind of like our version of a multivitamin. We're also going to put it on their back and use it like a natural sunblock, because they get really sensitive skin. It's going to be a good way of protecting their skin from the sun and from any bugs. It does look like there's a couple over here, so I believe this is the family group. And one of my favorite identifying features of African elephants is their ears are much bigger than their Asian counterpart. They're also sort of in the shape of Africa. Now, that's not actually how we tell them apart, it's just a really funny coincidence. They're a matriarchal society. That means one dominant female does the leading of the group. The females also stay together their entire lives, whereas the males break off into different bachelor groups once they mature end of age, that's usually at around age 15. They do usually like to hang out around either baobab trees or by aquatic areas, just because, like I said earlier, baobab trees are a really great source of drinking water, but also because elephants actually really like to swim, which I was personally very surprised to learn, just because they are quite large. I didn't think they'd be too buoyant, but they actually really do like to swim, and they're very good at it. Not only is it just a great way of cooling off, but it's also super fun and recreational for them. Another way they cool off is just by flapping their big ears. By flapping their ears, they can cool themselves down by up to 15 degrees, so it's kind of like their own built-in air conditioner. And they do have a gestation period of 22 months. That's almost 2 entire years. That's compared to our 9 months. Sounds super not fun to me, but thankfully we are not elephants. They do have the longest gestation period of any land mammal. If you look in between the baobab tree and the rocks, you can just barely see the baby elephant. She's hanging out with her mom there. Obviously, their mouths are a little bit further from the ground, so the way they eat their food and drink their water is just by using their trunks. So they can hold about 2.5 to 3 gallons of water in those trunks, but they also have 40,000 muscles on them. And to put that into perspective, if we put all of our muscles together at the same time right now, that's still not enough to compete with one elephant's trunk. That's just the trunk. Also got a bunch of greater flamingos on our left side. So they're the largest of all flamingo, but also the lightest pink of all flamingo. They get their pink color from eating lots and lots of brine shrimp, which has a protein in it called beta-carotene. That's what gives them their pink color. It's kind of like if you eat too many carrots, you start to turn a little bit orange. They're born little bright puffballs and reach their full size at about 6 to 8 months, and their full pink color over the course of about 2 years. There's been a lot of debate among scientists about why they stand on one leg. So far, the general consensus is that it's just to help regulate their body temperature. And a group of them would be called a flamboyance. Now continuing deeper into the savannah, into my personal favorite area of the savannah. It's got like 3 favorites in it. I still already see one of them.
Another rhino.
So on our left side, a couple of white rhinos. So they get their name from the mistranslation of the Afrikaans word bite, which means wide for their wide, flat lips. That's what we tell them apart from their black rhino counterpart, which has got that pointed, prehensile upper lip. These guys also weigh quite a bit more. They weigh about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds and can charge at speeds of 35 miles per hour. They don't have the greatest eyesight, but what they don't make up for in good eyesight, they make up for in really good hearing. They can definitely hear us talking about them. And they love to roll around in the mud. It just feels really nice on their skin, kind of like a 2-in-1 moisture.
This whole TV about him.
That's their favorite spot to lay.
You guys are baby.
The next one.
Also in cat territory now. So on the left side, she's really hard to see because she's laying down behind that tree in the corner. There's a cheetah there. The sun's just barely hitting her. So cheetahs are the fastest land mammals in the world.
Laying
They
down.
can run at speeds of 60 miles per hour. They can reach that speed in just 3 seconds, though they're only able to hold it for a few hundred yards. They're the only big cat that hunts during the day, so those black tear-stained marks on their face are kind of like built-in sunglasses or like an eye black, similar to what Amish wear.
electric fence
Also, the
snapping
only
back
cats that have
Yeah.
non-retractable claws, so their claws are kind of like built-in cleats. It just helps them grip the ground a little bit easier when they're running. There's another one over here. And they don't meow or roar like other cats do. They instead make a chirping or purring noise to communicate. They're the only larger cat that can purr. Since there were a couple in the area, a group of them would be called a coalition. We're going to hopefully continue into cat territory because this big rock formation is a Kopi rock. It's a pretty popular hangout spot since it's the highest vantage point in the savannah. So when you get to the very tip top of that rock up there, you can see pretty much everyone and just exactly what they're doing. It's also probably a really nice sunbathing spot when it's nice, sunny, and warm out.
Where Simba is on Pride Rock.
Far on the right side, there's a couple of ostriches back there. So I can tell from all the way over here that they're females since they've got grayish brown feathers. Males have black and white feathers, so it's very easy to tell them apart. They're the biggest birds in the world, but they're also
Oh, I
flightless,
see 'em.
and those big wings do have a purpose. By sticking those wings out, it helps them keep their balance when they're running. They can run at speeds of 40 miles per hour, making them the fastest animal on 2 legs. A lot of people think they stick their head into the dirt when they're scared. Totally not true. They either just like super for last. On the left side, my other favorites, those are warthogs. They're the largest burrowing animals in the world. They often like to reuse other warthog or aardvark burrows just because sometimes it's a little bit easier than digging up their own. When they do dig up their own, they're going to use those little tusks on their face, kind of like built-in shovels. When they're hanging out in their burrows, they like to back in. That way their faces and tusks are facing outwards. So if a predator does happen to come along, they'll be able to see them and hopefully squeeze them off. They can run at a whopping 35 miles per hour. That's the same speed a lion and giraffe can run at, and the same speed a rhino can charge at. Right now that brown antelope there, that's a water buck, and they're my favorite because they're just so stinking cute, and I do mean that quite literally, because they smell absolutely horrendous, but they also have a cute little heart-shaped nose. So they get their stinky smell from their oily coat, and that oily coat just helps them glide through the water easier to get away from their predators. Because of that, they are a non-migratory species, because they like to hang out around their aquatic areas, hence the name water buck, because they just
So
love
I
their
guess
water
the
so much.
lions aren't out at the moment because we just went around Pride Rock.
They grow up to be about 3 feet in length. They
That's
reach their
the
full size at
safari
about
in
3 years
Disney.
old. We're going to head into our last area of the reserve called Magadi Glen, which is home to our last final